Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Raphael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Raphael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. Hilda, thank you so much for joining me on Coaching Call. How are you this morning?
I'm so glad you have me here. Thank you very much, Sifu.
Oh, absolutely. It is my pleasure. And the reason is because you're helping so many people. And for me, that speaks volumes. So I appreciate you for that. One of the things that it's always very intriguing. How'd you get here? How'd you get here? How'd you get to where you are, right?
Yeah. It is a funny story. I was in a summer vacation.
Deeper than that. I'm gonna go from your childhood.
Oh yeah.
You were a little girl. Where'd you grow up? And then all the way to today.
Okay, so let's go back then. I did have some dolls, and I have a small blackboard, and I felt a teacher when I was quite very young, a small kid. And I used to sit my dolls, and I give the class with my board. I wrote down something. So I wanted to be a teacher. And when I finished college, I found out that I don't want to be a teacher in a school. I want to be a trainer for companies and executives. And I began like that. But no matter how many years that story has, I do have this passion and commitment to support people to know better, do better, get better results. And I do that now by coaching, through coaching, not anymore as a trainer. And I love that because it's the best way of supporting others to find opportunities and to achieve what they thought they couldn't do. And that is amazing. As
Sure is.
Says, it's priceless.
So tell me, where did you grow up? And also the question that I love to get an answer to is because it kind of tells us a little bit about the direction our life goes. Before the age of 10, who influenced you and where did you grow up?
Yeah, I was born and I still live in Mexico City. I'm Mexican and I love cultures, and that's why I want to go global. And since year 10, maybe my mother, not maybe, my mother was the best influence because she didn't allow me to complain. So in the morning when she woke up, she said, "Hi, how are you?" And I said, mosquito was the whole night buzzing. And she said, okay. That's a different day. So wake up and approach the day the best you can. So that is today my mantra. We have a big opportunity in front of us. So let's approach it in the best way. So that positivity, that is one of my main characteristics, is from that age.
That's a powerful message that your mom said. I don't want to hear about the mosquito, right? Forget it. It's done. let's move on, right? Move on, and like you said, let's approach the day, or some people would say attack the day or enjoy the day. There's so many different ways we can do the day, right? Um,
Yeah.
so your
Yeah.
mom
And
gave
I
you,
said enjoy. I don't say attack
right?
because the words has so much power.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's why.
So your mom started you early on thinking differently, right? Not to be negative, to think of positive things. And you talked earlier about how you would get a little bored and you would teach class to your dolls, right? Um, that was a captive audience, by the way. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They listen a lot.
yes, best audience is the ones that's captive, right? And
Right.
not tied up either. When we think about, you said that you went to college and then you realized that that's not what you wanted to do. But before that, let's talk about your teenage years. Who, besides your mom, we know your mom was a big influence. Who would you say, either friends or family members or a teacher, who influenced you to think a little bit outside the norm?
Yeah. I think the school principal,
Mm,
he saw in me the best. So he was really demanding on improving and focusing on responsibility, but very supportive. So he was one of the persons that influenced a lot my life. And you won't believe that story, but last year he contacted me.
wow.
And wow, that story began when I was maybe 14, 15. And he contacted me and he said he's approaching the 17 people that influence his life because he wants to close with everyone and to say thank you. And I said, gosh, what an amazing journey. And he wanted to touch base with me because he said he loved the influence that I gave to his life. And I said, okay, the one that is so grateful, it's me. So it's both sides.
Mhm. Wow, that is really powerful. Even on his end of it, to think about, and you were 15, how you influenced him. And so that goes to show that he was a great person because, or he is a great person
He is.
because he did not allow your age to diminish the lessons that you gave him. That's
Oh
beautiful.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I didn't think about that, and when you said that, it looks so powerful and so open to learn and receive from
Mhm.
others, no matter the age.
No matter the age. And one of the things I realize, and a lot of people don't give young people the time because they're like, "Pff, you don't know anything." Meanwhile, you don't know anything either. And the older we get, the less we know, right?
Yeah, right. Of course, we need to be friends with not knowing to find out solutions and options and ideas.
Mhm, mhm. It's very interesting. Yesterday, I was talking to a young person, and instead of them being negative, they came up with solutions without realizing it. And so I said, "You know what you are?" They're like, "No, what am I?" I said, "You're a problem solver. Don't forget it. You're a problem solver. You didn't allow something to get over you or something to bother you. You figured out a better way how to handle it, and you became a problem solver." And so I was encouraging them. I mean, they were really young, and I was encouraging them to always pursue that, to not see a problem, but to see the solution. A problem is just a guide for you to level up and come out of that negativity and say, there's a solution here, right?
Right. And also, you did something really powerful. I do have my clients that they began complaining about a problem, a concern, something that they cannot solve, or an unexpected um, breakdown that came into life and business, and they forget about their personal resources. So you gave that person yesterday an awareness of that is in your toolkit.
Mhm.
Don't forget that,
Right.
because you are going to use it in life. So keep it in your mind and in your toolkit. That way you will use it when you will need it.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, you thought you wanted to be a teacher. Did you keep doing that through high school? Did you say, wow, did you start to look at the different teachers and say, I want to be like this teacher. I don't want to be like this teacher. I want to, right? Because there's some great teachers and there's some teachers who should never be teachers because you fall asleep in their class. So were you doing that? And at what point, you said in college you realized you didn't want to do it. At what point did you say, wait a minute, this is not for me? So give me those two versions if you can.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I just forget my early childhood and the teaching stuff. And when I was at the last year at school, I have this assessment that allows you to understand your talents.
Mm,
And suddenly an educational career pop up from all my talents, that one. And I said, gosh, I used to play with the dolls. I was a teacher
mm,
at small ages. So that makes sense to me. So I signed up for that and I studied an educational career. And in my mind, it was working with children because I do have something with children. I do know how to connect perfectly with them. And in first year in college, I found out everything about business. And I forget about kids and teaching and all that stuff. And I went directly to work for corporations.
mm. Wow. So, but you said something earlier. You wanted to still teach, but you wanted to be a trainer for corporations. How did you even start that? How did you
Yeah,
become a trainer?
yeah. In college, that is so many assignments to speak, to design trainings, and to design manuals, and to do presentations, and all that stuff. So I knew, because that was one of my best assignments at college. So I knew perfectly when I finished college, I decided to work for a company, and my first job was as a trainer. And I knew I only needed to learn what they want me to train, but the technique, I knew it perfectly. Something really interesting happened to me when I began to work for a company. I didn't feel a pedagogist anymore. It was like, okay, maybe I made a mistake and I'm working for business and not for schools. And maybe I needed to study in the past a business career. And something came clear in my mind. I still committed, no matter if I'm working for a company and not for a school. I'm still committed with learning and improvement.
Mm,
So that's why I studied what I needed to study.
mm.
I didn't make a mistake. It's only a different field.
Correct, correct. You're still impacting, right? You're making a difference, and I think that's a beautiful thing when we think of it. So, if you If you had a chance right now to go back to college, what would you study?
Gosh, so an amazing question. Something, and I don't know if that exists, something that can mix the education and the business, because it was so difficult to understand business and companies and culture and the behavior in the companies and adults and challenges and results. That is the language of the companies. So something that can mix both to be more equipped to respond in a faster way.
So what you're telling me, what you would go study is not available.
I'm not sure what is
You,
available now. Maybe there
you
is something
create that. You create that, right?
I created.
So sometimes, and that's the beauty of when you seek something, you don't even realize you're seeking it. But when you start doing it, you're creating it, right? And you see, I made you think, what would you go back and study? And you talked about what you're already doing. So kudos to you.
Yeah, yeah. So glad of my path. I love the journey that I have all those years, and I love my turn to from trainer to coach. I love it.
What's so different about it? Tell us.
So different when you train somebody, maybe a team, a group of 20, 30, 50, whatever. You train them in a specific topic, sales or skills like communication or even coaching or problem solving, time management, whatever, all those skills that they call soft skills. And they are called core skills, not soft skills, really, because you are going to need them in life and in business. You are going to need to manage yourself and have this emotional intelligence. So there are core skills. But when you train them, people, you finish after, I don't know, 8, 16, 20, 40 hours. And that's it. You don't see the impact. Maybe you don't see them again. Because after working for different companies, I decided to be an entrepreneur and begin my own training company. So even I don't see my clients anymore, I didn't realize if that changed the person. I don't know. And there is a curve that shows that memory fast forgets what you learn.
Mhm.
So in a day, you will retain only 10%. So it's awful. 10% is nothing. And if you finish the day like that and you don't put into practice, you will forget everything.
Oh, yeah.
Not a single idea will stick to you.
Well, some people, they don't even learn 10%. They don't retain it, right? Some people
Right.
totally forget everything. And so for me, as an instructor, a trainer, a coach, I try to help people understand that if you don't, and I have tons of notes, if you don't do the most important thing, right, and write it down,
Oh, yeah.
it's not going to happen. But here's the thing. If you write it down, great. But if you never go back to it, it's lost. It's
Yeah.
lost. So for me, it's always about looking at things. How can I improve? And then, so the way I do is if I'm at a place, I write notes, right? And then all of a sudden, what I do is I take those notes and I put them in a different journal. And so all of a
Okay.
sudden, I'm rewriting what I already wrote. And then I go
Okay.
back, I highlight the important things, and then I rewrite it in another one. And so I write the same ideas and concepts until I really pull out the golden nuggets from it. So that really helps me set up the way I do so much. It really, really definitely impacts the way I look at everything, you know?
And I will tell you why. Because to think about it is one exercise for the brain,
Mm.
to write it down is a second. So you do a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and I don't know how many exercises until the brain, because the brain needs to repeat and repeat and repeat until it sticks.
Right.
So that's why transformation is a repetitive act that
Right.
allows you to change and to stick
Mm.
in long term with your ideas or whatever you want to have in life.
And I think that a lot of people don't, they go to an event or they listen to somebody or they do something. But for me, when I hear something, I could be watching, I really don't watch TV, but I do, when I sit with my fiance, we'll watch a show, but it's not like television, right? It's a stream, we stream something. But when somebody says something, I'm like, got it. I know it. And it could be a commercial. It could be anything. And I'll even say to her, "Did you hear what they said?" And she'll go, "No, what they say?" I said, "No, I mean, you know what they said." And then she'll say it back to me. I said, "Did you get the message?" She goes, "Now that you say it." But so, and she's brilliant. She's a brilliant person. But what happens is a lot of times we hear something, but we're not listening, right? We can repeat it back, but it did not internalize. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm always actively listening because you never know. You never know what beautiful things are gonna come out. And sometimes even when people say negative things, I take that in too because how can I change that? How can I change that narrative and make it better, right?
Okay, that is the question. And you ask me why I rather coaching than training. And training is you don't know the impact. And you don't know if people is going to make a continuous practice. And in coaching, you see the person in this session and in the next and in the other one, and you see the person how try and improves and change the mind and change the behavior and practice and sustain the practice, and what happened with the person who wants to become if they achieve that. So that's why I do bet better for coaching.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. There are a lot of platforms that people can go and learn things from, but there's no follow up. Nobody follows up to say, what's next? How are you doing? Did you get the idea? Did you understand it? So I am, if you see it across the screen, it's called Speaking Prowess. I'm creating a communication center where people can actually come and learn, but then we follow up. So it's a different type of communication center where some people just, they'll go there, learn something, and then they'll leave, but not us, right? We're going to follow up, follow up, follow up. How's it going? Did you do it? So I think and that speaks volume to what you're doing because,
Let me share you a quote
yes,
that it amazed me and says knowledge doesn't change behavior, practice does.
yeah, that's powerful.
So that's why if you follow up, you will promote a continuous practice that allow you to achieve
Mhm.
your goal or the person you want to become.
Yeah, without- So when you Mm. When you transferred from trainer to coach, was there a catalyst? Was there a moment in time when you said, I have to change it? I have to make it
Yeah,
for you?
it is. Yeah, it is very interesting because I I'm very self-demanding, very much. And I realized once when I wrote down, there is a coaching exercise that calls automatic writing. And in 5 minutes, you do have a question in your head and you write without caring about the way you write and everything. Just write and pull everything outside. And I did that because I wanted to increase my coaching clients. So I write maybe what are the options. And I found that I wrote I must, I need, I must, I need. And I realized that I'm self-demanding a lot with myself to improve. And in coaching was so different because it was a catalyst and it was my daughter asking me what do I want to achieve the next year, because before I asked the same question to her and she was maybe 20 years old and she asked me back and I said, oh gosh, thank you, you asked. And I'm wondering why I train in coaching and I'm not a coach. Hmm, I would love to do that.
That's a good question.
Yeah. And I said I would love, and I didn't say I must or I need. And I came back from the holidays and I searched from some places. And that was 20 years ago and 10 coaching certifications ago. So I began my training and I'm committed, I'm passionate about that. I do a lot for my clients, and the clients love to be in coaching because the best time they accomplish things is because they are working in a coaching process.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you consider the fact that the reason a lot of people go to training because their company sends them,
Yep. A lot of them, most of them.
right? But a lot of people will go to training and never seek a coach. And those are the ones that are not doing as well as the ones that seek a coach, right? Because this is why I have coaching call. This is why we have this show, because it shows people that a coach can transform your life in ways that you could not even imagine. Training is good. It'll help. But when you go deeper, and that's what coaching is, it goes deeper to a level that you'll never get in training. That's where a coach is so valuable. That's why, Hilda, you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And let me tell you that I try with myself. I do had sometimes in my life coaching and mentoring, somebody to mentor me, and accountability partners. I do have a lot in different stages and moments and challenges in life. And my best accomplishments are when I support with growing partners. So I try with myself, but people, and Marshall Goldsmith said that amazingly in his book Triggers. We diminish the thing that change is quite complex. It is. And we think this time we are going to achieve that. This next diet or gym challenge or delegation skill or to order my desk and to have them perfectly or to manage by priority. This time I'm going to accomplish. And life happens and you don't accomplish.
That's right. That's right.
So coaching has also a bad name because usually the company said you need to fix that in that person. And it's not a fixing stuff.
Not at all.
But people think if they are going to be sent to coaching, something is wrong with them. And they don't see the whole possibilities and the world that opens up because they are in coaching.
You know, there have been a few movies actually that have portrayed exactly what you've just spoke about, where they're told you got to go to this coaching or you need this coach, and the person is, no, I'm good, I'm the best salesperson, whatever it is,
Oh my God.
and then they have no choice because their boss said you have to do this, and then they come in with a bad attitude. They're like, "Arr." And then the person is very good, and then they let them rant, and they let them scream and everything, and slowly they make them think. They make them think. They make them think, and all of a sudden they're relying on that coach. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So there is a transformation that each person goes through when they get a coach. And let's talk about coaches because we are talking about coaches. We all know that there's a lot of coaches in the world right now who should not be coaches.
Oh yeah, please.
I'm going to say it right out there. You need a
I
different job
agree.
because you're hurting people, right?
Oh yeah. And they don't know. They don't know what they do. They are doing. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't have their own coach. So how can they coach someone if they don't have their own coach? So for me, I have coaches. I have mentors. I have people that I can talk to who will tell me, "Hey, Rafael, you're full of baloney." I'm like, "Oh, really?" They're like, "You didn't think of it this way. You didn't do that." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." Instead of me fighting them, I'm like, "Thank you. Tell me more. I want to know because how can I help someone else if I'm not helping myself?" And my coach is going to help me be a better coach. So for me to be the best coach to my clients, I need to be coached.
Oh, yeah, that is so right. And we have so many topics to work in ourselves. And we need to walk the talk. So if I'm talking about transformation and I'm not a clear example of that in life, what's happening there? So we need to be coached and we need to work in ourselves in order to become better, stronger, wiser.
Mm.
And with that, you can give more to others.
So tell me what it's like for you when you work with a client, when you acquire a new client. What is that like for you? I know it's exciting for them and it's probably exciting for you, but
Oh,
what
yeah.
is it you go through as a person?
Yeah.
What is that?
I began to invest in the relationship, to have a clear understanding who this person is, what are their dreams and aspirations, what do they care about. And that way, if I invest in that and I understand the client and I ask him, had you been coached before? Because if you had a coach before, maybe you know what do you like and dislike. So I want to understand that. If you don't have you any idea of what do you like and how can I support you to be better? So I invest in the relationship and in the understanding of the other person. the person by themselves, and also the challenges they are facing, and the kind of leader who they want to become in the future. So that is so important for me. And that gives me the possibility of understanding the other and ask the best questions that can allow them to reflect and to have these insight moments that, oh, I didn't think about that before. Wow, this is a different perspective. So I really, really uh, um, don't give that as okay. Let's start my first session with you, and let's begin. What is your goal for this session? No, no, I need to understand you.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
that
important.
that happens for me in the beginning.
So, Hilda, when you take on a client, what kind of clients are you working with currently?
Mhm. I do work with top executives because I love the challenges there.
Mm.
And when somebody change at the top, the bottom gets transformed too. So I do love this challenge. I go to think that the most impact that a person can have in life, this is the one that is going to have.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how does somebody find you? I mean, we have your website up, hildafainsod.com. How does somebody find you if they never heard about you? Do you get a lot of referrals, word of mouth? Do you advertise? Because this is important for other people who may want to become a coach. And one of the things I always say to people is there's a lot of coaches out there. And I'm not discouraging anyone from becoming a coach, but you also have to do your due diligence. You have to do your training. You have to do everything else that's going to require you and find out who is it that you're going to be coaching. So how does somebody like yourself, even somebody who is well advanced in coaching, how do you keep that momentum going?
Yeah, I do a mix of things. One of it is the clients' referrals are the best one, of course,
Right.
word of mouth, because they share their own experience. And I do have clients that when share with friends or with colleagues the coaching process, they said, okay, go and read her book and go to the website and listen to her podcast and do this and that because you are going to understand who am I recommended you.
Mm.
And I like that very much. So this is one and the best one. Also, I write books. I decided that I can have impact one on one. That is my preferred style. But also, I can write a book and impact 1,000 people. And
Tell us
so that way I also do that. And I have a web page, and sometimes I do. Excuse me, something is popping in my computer. I don't know why. Excuse me. So I write books and I have a website and I'm in podcast and I talk about coaching and I do some gigs. So I do some
Yeah,
stuff to be coach, and I have a journey of 20 years, and that counts.
that counts a lot.
That counts a lot. And I have 10 coaching certifications. So the person that wants to be a coach, I encourage to go and train deeply to transform themselves. And after that, to be a coach.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us about your books. You said you write books. Uh,
Yeah.
I would love to get my hands on them. I love reading, so we'll have to talk about that. But tell me about your latest book.
Yeah, I do have two books, and I began when pandemic times came, and I asked my clients for coaching, and they said, "Gosh, I'm I don't understand the world now, and we need to survive as a company and do a lot of stuff here. So allow us for a few weeks, and we will come back to the conversation of coaching, not now." And that happened in a day 5 times. So I began to be so anxious that I went outside, because it wasn't forbidden to go outside and to walk. So I walked 10 kilometers, and I came back and I said, "Gosh, I cannot be in this kind of stress." And I decided to make a dream reality, that was writing a book, because all the time I said, "I don't have time." What was the next excuse? Because I do have a lot of time. And I decided to write a book in Spanish, Buen Camino, and it's a 7 steps to go to a different level. And why not? I'm a hyperachiever. I love the challenges, and I decided a year ago to begin a book, to begin to write
All right.
Power Up, a book
Hold that up
in
again.
English.
I'm going to
Power
make
Up.
you hold that book up again. There we go. Power Up. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. I want to read
Thank
that for
you.
sure.
Yeah. And power up, it began like, what happened to myself and to my clients
Mhm.
when it comes, when we talk about change. And we do efforts that are for hours, for days, for weeks, and we don't accomplish. And I began to see some data, and in United States, that you have measures of everything. I read that 45% of American people, they do say in Christmas, or at the beginning of the year, "I want to achieve this and that." 45%. And only 8 of that 45
Mhm.
accomplish what they want. And I said, "Gosh, is what I found with my clients." And I asked, "Did you have the conversation to achieve this and that?" And they said, not yet, but I will." Did you went to the gym as you committed 3 times a week? "Well, I began one week, but..." So we want something badly, and we don't follow up enough until we change. And because of that, I wrote Power Up, to make awareness that change is complicated,
Right.
really complicated. And we think we can accomplish. And suddenly we stop ourselves, and we have blockages, and we have saboteurs. And in our head, there is not the best message that encourages it to achieve results. So this is a book that the first part of the book talks about change, and the things we face, and why we fail short, and what happened to us, and what are the saboteurs, and what stop us, and how to stop them.
Mhm.
And after that, to think about, who do I want to become? Because if I want to run a half marathon, this is a goal, and I train a lot. Finally, I ran a half marathon, so I mark it. I complete a dream, and the next day you don't get to the gym,
Mhm.
because when you complete a goal, is so excited, and the energy goes down, and the motivation too, and you drain, you are tired, you forget about it. Okay, a good dream, that's it. So if you think about identity, who do I want to become? And it's not the same to run a half marathon that to become a healthier person. That is a sustainable goal. Um, you with that, you will go to the gym and be fit and eat properly and breathe a lot and do wellness practices, and you are going to be a healthier person. It's not a matter of a small goal to accomplish. It's a great part of an identity. And I didn't do, at 47 years, I didn't work out a single day in my life.
Mm.
And I began to transform myself with coaching, trying to understand what happened to me and where the biases were. And I changed a lot. And now I can say it's part of my style. This is an early morning, but I wanted to be in the gym as every day from Monday to Saturday because it's a lifestyle. It's not a goal anymore. So I encourage people to have these definitions of who do you want to become and walk day by day,
Mm.
action by action to achieve that. And that is transformation.
Oh,
That is change. And the book allows you to have a 30-day practice. And not in a 30-day are you are going to accomplish. It's a way to begin to walk because sometimes we just need to begin.
yeah. Mhm.
Because
Beautiful.
we begin like better Monday. We are Thursday today. Quite today is going to be the weekend, so better Monday, and the Monday never appears in life. So power up is a way to understand that change needs a lot.
Mm.
From my resistance to workout to a lifestyle, it took a lot of years.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a shortcut, a quick fix, and we love those. My clients, human resources began when they have a conversation about coaching an executive, and they began like, when is going to finish the process? And I said, go, gosh, the process hasn't begun. So when it's going to be finished, okay, let's talk about the process and the possibilities for the executive. So we want to know the date, the time, the moment, to have a shortcut and to fix that really fast, not to invest in ourselves.
That doesn't really work, right?
Oh yeah, it is.
You made me think when you talked about you run a marathon and then that's it. You don't go to the gym the next day. It's almost as if somebody climbs the mountain, they get to the top. When they get to the top, that's it. There's nothing else. Now they have to go down. Right? So when they go down, what did they see when they got to the top? Did they see another peak? Did they see another mountain? Or were they just looking down because I arrived, I did it, yay! But they didn't look ahead. All they did was look down and go, oh, now I got to go down. Instead of saying, oh, look, there's another mountain. I'm going to go down so I can climb that. So a lot of times it's the way we set our goals in order to be able to understand that we are going to get there. And when we get there, what are we going to do with what we learned in the process of getting there, right?
All right. Right. There is something. I do have those clients that are so ambitious and driven and have this passion and commitment and responsibility. And when they achieve something, so hyperachievers that they achieve something and they are seeking for the next goal. And they don't stop for a moment to say, gosh, congratulations. I learned this and that and grow in those understandings. My skills got improved because this and that. I delivered this value for the company. My team and I accomplished this and that. No, they are in the next goal, in the next peak. And I said, stop for a moment,
You need
breathe,
that.
put yourself this success. because neuroscience says that when you stop for a moment and you realize the achievement and what you learn and what you grow, you develop these neurotransmitters of dopamine, and dopamine puts you in the best condition and in the best shape to accomplish the next. So stop for a moment and realize, gosh, that was amazing.
Mhm.
And we don't stop. The speed in the companies are so fast that we don't stop.
Yeah, we need we need to recharge also, right? So we need
Oh
to
yeah.
understand where we are, how we're going to get to the next one. Because it's amazing to have goals. If you only have one goal, you're going to be stuck at the end of it. So it's a great idea to have many goals, but you have to take the time to appreciate each one, each accomplishment. Just like you just said, when you consider your life now, what's one thing that you would still like to accomplish?
I do began an author's career. So I want to keep going that way too, and write more and present more my book and talk more with people and impact more. So impact is in my head since I was a kid without realizing it. And it's still in my mind every day. So I want to go that way too.
Yeah. Let's talk about your first book. Is Nuevo Camino
Buen camino.
or Buen Camino?
Ajá.
And, and to me, I'm Colombian, so that means Buen is good, Camino is journey, right?
That is.
So when we go on a it's weird when people don't get the message because it's in a different language, right? But I got it immediately because I speak Spanish, right? And Buen Camino means so much to me because it's our actions that take us on that great journey.
Oh, yeah.
Without our actions, we're going to be on a terrible journey. Other people are going to depict what we do with our lives instead of us. So I think planning is important, understanding the journey you're on, and even sometimes going on a journey that has no roads, right? So that you
All
can
right.
find
Yeah.
beauty.
Mhm. I was walking a few years ago the Camino de Santiago.
Mm,
This is it has 5 different roads, and you walk a lot of miles, and you decide how many, but you need to cover at least 100 kilometers to complete the journey and to arrive to Santiago de Compostela. And I did that because I wanted, and it was the best self-coaching week of my life, because you are walking and reflecting and stopping and breathing and realizing and amazed by the things. It was amazing. And people that cross with you during the week, they turned to you and they said, Buen camino. And they are wishing you a good journey that day.
mm,
And they said that with sort of excitement because they are so great walking there and accomplish something that means to them, that they wish you the best of the journey. And actually, they said that they wish you that the road will transform you.
mm.
Not you will just walk the road will do the same to you inside.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah, and when I was walking, I said, "Oh gosh, I do have a title for a book." And I didn't have a book, but I have the name.
That's,
So that's the story of Buen Camino.
my dad taught me a lesson without teaching me a lesson. He maybe didn't mean to teach it to me, but he did. He said, let's go get bread. I think we're going to get in the car. We walked and we didn't go to the supermarket. We went to a specialty bakery that didn't even say bakery outside. They made specialized bread. It took us an hour and a half to get there. And I'm a little kid. And I'm like, oh, when are we getting there? I'm complaining the whole way, right? And then finally, my dad starts telling me things. So I stopped complaining. And I was listening and I'm walking. Now I'm curious. Where are we going? We're going to get bread. We passed some stores already. We're going to get bread. Why can't we get bread here? He goes, just keep going, keep going. So we get there. And can I tell you? The trip was worth it. The bread was incredible. And then we walked back, and walking back, I ate some of the bread and I was happy. And the walk back was shorter than the walk there because I didn't complain anymore and I enjoyed the journey. So my dad taught me that it doesn't matter the journey, but pay attention to the journey, right?
Right. And paying attention to the journey is something that when we are in high speed, we don't do. I asked one of my clients, are you always are at 100 miles per hour? And he said, always. And I said, gosh, not everything needs that speed.
Right.
And he was like, okay, I didn't think about it. So we need different kind of efforts
Mm.
because we have different size of challenges.
That's why we have so many tools.
Yeah,
We don't know what tool we need today.
yeah, that is.
I also own a wood shop, and sometimes if I'm going to go to somebody's house and do an installation, I don't bring just a hammer and a wrench. I bring all the tools. And recently I did a job for a lady, and I get there, her husband lets me in, and I go and I set everything up. She comes later after work, and she goes, "Oh my God, you brought your whole shop." I said, she goes, "You got this tool, that cutting thing, this, that, that." She goes, "Oh my God, this is incredible." She goes, "You know what you should do? You should teach people about carpentry." I said, I get that. I said, it's not the first request. Everybody's asked me about that. I said, but nobody would want to pay my prices because I'm not cheap. If you want to learn what I know, you're going to have to pay like I paid. Right? But nobody wants to pay the price
Oh no.
for the knowledge that you have. But when they understand the knowledge, and after I finished this project for her, she was like, wow, this is amazing. This is beautiful. And then she called me back for a second project. And it wasn't a matter of price anymore. Because when I first went over and gave her an estimate, she goes, I said, listen, I'm not the cheapest. She goes, yeah, but I know I was referred to you. I've seen your work. You do great stuff. And she goes, wow, somebody wanted to do it like less than half the price you wanted to do. I said, okay, so you should go with them. She goes, no, I already know your knowledge makes them look like a kindergartner. You're a professor. So I'm going to go with you. And she was thrilled with it. So a lot of times people don't understand the potential of having the right person or having the knowledge, but you need to pay the price. Like you did, You
Oh,
have certifications in coaching. You've been doing it. You have the skills. So people need to find you because if they want the best, they have to go with the best, right?
right. And all the time they began like there are other coaches with lower fares. And I said, be my guest.
Good luck.
You need to compare apples with apples. And you said something that I listened to you very carefully. People don't want to pay the price that it takes to improve, to transform, to be different, to be stronger. Don't want to pay the price
And
because
sometimes,
we love short ways.
yeah. And sometimes the price is not money,
No, it's not.
time.
It's not. It's time and effort and consistency and discipline. And if you don't accomplish by them, but by yourself, go with an accountability partner, a coach, a mentor, whatever, and do what it takes.
That's right.
And what it takes is too much, maybe. So if you broke into pieces and you eat every day a small, tiny piece, is better to accomplish big goals.
Absolutely. Hilda, I got to tell you, I'm having a great time getting to know you, and you're an amazing coach. And I would love for you to come on my other shows. And um,
Oh,
we have
I
to,
will, I will.
I love it. I love it. We have to talk about how you and I can do things together and how I can get my hands on your book. Of course, I'm going to want a signed copy. So when you
Okay.
consider, we're about to wrap it up. What's one word of advice that you would give someone who is looking for a coach?
Um, Challenge yourself.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, no, don't come with small goals. Don't hire a coach for that, please.
Yeah, exactly. Don't
Challenge
go.
yourself. Open up to try what you haven't tried before and deal with uncomfortability. Oh, that is so difficult because it's so comfortable being the person that I am. Or maybe not, but I don't want to change. So we need to deal with what's not comfortable in small steps. So open up, challenge yourself, and deal what it takes and
Beautiful.
bet on that.
Thank you so much for today. Have yourself
Thank
an amazing day. Don't go away. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you next time.
thank you. Thank you very much.